What's up, YouTube? It is your boy Killing It. Welcome back to the Killer Squad. We got Sony confirms the Spider Verse. I knew it. I knew it. Let's get into it. Let's get it, man. Spider Verse is happening.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires, and while we all patiently wait, maybe not the best word, for this Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that's easily coming within the next week, yesterday was supposed to be the first big reveal and preview in Total Film Magazine, and while all of those previews for the upcoming Marvel Phase 4 projects were basically just a couple of sentences, not even a paragraph, and no insider information. Oh, was the insider information yet to come yesterday? And from the most official of sources, none other than the Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group president, Sanford Panich, in his interview with Variety, where although explicit language wasn't uttered in the way that, well, now we know Toby and Andrew are in it, he basically said...
I already knew that they were in it. Come on, 60
and up. What's going on with their Venomverse, what's going on with their Spider-Man verse, and even what's coming up with Spider-Man No Way Home. We have to talk about this breakdown in these future Sony plans because honestly, this is the most official.
I already knew that they were in it.
Source in all of the last 6 months of conjecture, and it is super interesting, especially to see everything from Sony's point of view. We're going to break down this brand new interview with the Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group president, Sanford Panich,
right.
What he had to say about Spider-Man No Way Home and their Spider-Verse. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're still giving away a PlayStation 5 now at 900,000 subscribers, as well as Disney.
You have 900,000 subscribers for real? I only got 25. I just started doing YouTube last year. I just started doing YouTube just not that long ago.
Stick around to the end of the video. We'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So obviously this week's news was kicked off alongside this No Way Home trailer watch when Aaron Taylor Johnson, the same actor who played Quicksilver, Wanda's brother in the MCU that died back in Age of Ultron, was asked to play Kraven the Hunter in Sony's Spider-Verse that still doesn't have a Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I know he's playing Kraven the Hunter.
Morbius,
I can't wait to see it.
And he was asked about this specifically. Quote, he said, "We really don't think of our 900 characters as the Spider-Verse. We have a Marvel Universe. The volume of characters we have, wait until you see this next Venom, you don't miss Spider-Man. Yeah, we'll see about that." Then he pauses and said, "It'll be exciting if they do meet." Right now, of course, he knows what he's saying when he says that, in the same way that Sony knew what they were doing when they were joking about the trailer release. And I don't think he would have dangled that out there. There wasn't some meat left on the bone for us to bite. And he followed that up, being a little more clear. Quote, "There's actually a plan," he says. "I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed. And I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed." Oh, even more will be revealed, huh? What are you, Apocalypse now? Okay, some really bad old X-Men references.
By the way, my new Ninja Turtles 3 come out tomorrow. So, the film comes out tomorrow.
All those editorials, yes, they have a plan. Spider-Man No Way Home is the beginning of that plan.
And the villain, I can't tell you who the villain is. It's supposed to be a surprise.
And Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, a character that should be dead from the very first Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, were coming back. And in fact, this same article with Variety made sure to point that out. They said, quote, "One of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood is that No Way Home will be diving headfirst into the multiverse and incorporating characters from Sony's earlier Spider-Man movies that starred Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield." Alfred Molina, for example, told Variety, the same publication, in April that he would be digitally de-aged in No Way Home to look like he did as the villain Doc Ock at the end of 2004's Spider-Man 2. Now, they go on to say that the implication is whatever happens, quote, in No Way Home could allow for Holland to live in Sony's Marvelverse movies and somehow being part of the MCU at the same time. Remember, Kevin Feige, all the way back in one of those earlier Phase 4 slate reveals, said that Tom Holland had the power to cross Marvel Cinematic Universes, but Panich talked about this directly when asked about it and then invoked none other than Kevin Feige's name, the chief operative over at Marvel Studios. He said this, quote, "The great thing is we have a very excellent relationship with Kevin. There is an incredible sandbox there to play with." That word sandbox, by the way, started to be used by a lot of the executives over at Sony, sort of starting to feel rehearsed. He goes on to say, "We want those MCU movies to be absolutely huge because that's great for us and our Marvel characters, and I think that's the same thing on their side. But we have a great relationship. There's lots of opportunities, I think, that are going to happen. Now, Panich, why don't you back off the gas a little bit, buddy? The MCU does not live, breathe, or die depending on how big Venom and or Kraven get. It's already operating on its own feet and merit. And to be honest with you, the execs over there probably go to bed every night secretly wishing that Sony gets bought so the rights for Spider-Man magically bounce back to Disney. That aside, you have to understand he's the president of their motion pictures group, a struggling studio house in Sony that really only has Spider-Man's IP propping them up. That's been the case for a while. What else do you expect him to say? But he wasn't done there saving face talking about his relationship with the MCU and how bigger Marvel movies make other Marvel movies bigger. Yeah, that only happens if they're in the same universe, by the way, Panich. This is what he said about Spider-Man 2, Kraven, the whole nonsense as we're going into No Way Home. Quote, "It's tough because I think these projects are kind of things we have to work on in the dark. They're not ready until they're ready. Kraven is a great example because we didn't rush it. We could have made that 3+ years ago. Yeah, with no Spider-Man, man. Now it's just a script. J.C. Chandler, that's the director, was the right choice, and we found the movie star because it was just kismet. That's a word for sort of karma. And watching the other movie and realizing that this could be a perfect casting. As for the Sinister Six, after a long pause, Panich chuckles, quote, "It would be very cool, wouldn't it?" Asking about them putting together their Sinister Six, as rumors and reports have returning villains from the original Spider-Man trilogies and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man coming back to make their own MCU version of the Sinister Six under the Norman Osborn from the original Spider-Man trilogy. Willem Dafoe has been reported in multiple places now as the main villain. So Sony and MCU are setting up separate Sinister Sixes, one in their own MCU and then one out in the Sony multiverse? Guys, let's be real. You can't have a Maximum Carnage. You really can't even have a Kraven's Last Hunt, as publicly they have sort of said this movie would be based on, unless you have a Peter Parker. Maybe a Miles Morales, but really a Peter Parker. Or definitely some kind of Spider-Man. I'm just going to be real with you guys for a second and come off the academia a little bit. I was surprised they even made a Venom movie without access to Tom Holland. I was
Me too.
surprised that they attempted to do a Maximum Carnage.
Agent Venom comes out next week. My new Agent Venom trailer. Go check it out.
2019 huge ordeal with the rights to Spider-Man and Tom Holland. All of a sudden he was out of the MCU and back over at Sony. Yeah, because they needed a Peter Parker. Then all of a sudden everything was okay and they continued making these movies. Morbius, now announcing Raven. Sony has a plan to get Tom Holland. I'm almost
sure when does Morbius come out?
How Tom Holland will be able to coexist and be able to travel.
I am waiting for the new Michael Morbius.
Venom and Carnage and Morbius and Kraven, but stay in the MCU to cross over with the Fantastic Four. I haven't quite worked that out yet.
And I got Michael Morbius.
I'm totally shocked if Sony had the gall not to make these movies without a Peter Parker, but to cast yet another Spider-Man, a fourth official movie cinema Spider-Man amongst all of this hoopla, especially in the Spider-Verse, and as beloved as Tom Holland is currently in the role and co-owned by Sony. It's not like Marvel's running out their own Spider-Man over there and Sony's like, we have to compete. They're both making money off that IP. They wouldn't technically want to cast another Spider-Man in sort of relation to Tom Holland. That's what he was talking about, the sort of profit sharing. When one world does better, so does theirs. Yeah, only if the characters cross over, which means they need Tom Holland's Spider-Man to make their movies as profitable as they want them to be, to cash in on the profitability of the MCU. That's why no matter what happens in No Way Home, Sony is ready to show us how Peter Parker, Tom Holland, is going to make it into their films right on time for Maximum Carnage and, of course, a Kraven's Last Hunt. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below and reaction, and do you agree Tom Holland's the one that makes their new Spider-Verse the most money? That's the one that they want to cross over, especially in time for Maximum Carnage. Let me know all your thoughts quickly. Let's get into that giveaway stuff before I let you go. We're still giving away a PlayStation.
Alright. I'm just going to stop it right there. Let me know, think my reaction down below. Peace.